Welcome to Nuuli Forged. We are a 5e actual play stream, and we play in the world of Nuuli, which came out of my brain, and my 5 friends over here are brave enough to play in. Tonight we are down a Matt who plays Spoot, but that's okay. I've got it. Thank you for the Pikachus. Always good to see you. And I think that's the spiel. So we're going to jump right into introductions. We're not going to roll for our typical D20 for in-depth character analysis because that will come later.
Oh my.
Yes, indeed.
Great.
Please, everyone, introduce yourself and the character you were most recently playing in this game.
Oh.
Oh god. Amber.
Notice I've spent the last week saying you don't know if you're dead yet. So just keep that in mind.
Sure.
But
mostly dead.
We're gonna, which is still partially alive. We're gonna start at the top of the ladder with Mike.
Hello, I'm Mike. I play Defect, the Warforged Arcanaton Barbarian.
Wonderful. Hopping on down, we have Amber.
Hello, I'm Amber. I play Greg the Goblin Artificer. Yep, that's it.
And below that, we have Sarah.
Hey, that's me. I'm Sarah. I have most recently played all of the half-orc moon druid.
Wonderful. And below that, we've got Tanner.
Hi, I'm Tanner. I'm playing, what was I playing? Nearest the Azamar Sorcerer, I think. Yeah, that was my most recent. Jesus Christ.
Indeed. And Tanner is still recovering, so he will be a little box with a very cute iconography on it. But that's okay. And I'm Jared. I play everyone else and everything else that is not the 5 player characters. I'm the DM around these parts. And that's all you need to know. So, with that all being said, we're going to dive right into last time on Nuuli Forged. Last time on Nuuli Forged, the Misfits were briefly visited by a very battered and beaten Meridian who gave them a gift, 4 silver apples from the garden of the Queen of the Unseelie. These apples restored a good portion of their health and their abilities, as he had foreseen some dire consequences if they went in without them. The party then entered the bridge of Kraghold and faced Oligar Greyclaw, Shuzaxa, the serpentine wizard, magic-using snake person, Shurga, the orc who doesn't like holy people very much, that they have faced a couple of times, and Pegon, the charismatic brawler, on the bridge of Kraghold. The battle was fierce and difficult. Olikar revealed his true nature, that of a monstrous Oni, which is a fiendish sort of giant kin. Indeed, he is apparently not a half-giant Goliath type of individual, but an entirely different species of giant which can disguise itself, meaning that he has been lying to everybody and everything the entire time.
Shocker.
Yeah. The party tried real hard, but Oligar had planned for them and knew their abilities pretty well after the various encounters that they had had. And that included their spells being countered left and right by 2 invisible mages whose sole job was to counterspell everything they could of the parties. Eventually, these 2 were revealed, and though valiantly fought, the entire party sadly fell one by one into a state of, at least, unconsciousness. That is where we begin. It is dark. There is no sense of self. There is no sense of an outer universe, there is nothing. None of you can tell where you are, where you have been, what you can sense or feel. Greg, you have watched each of your companions fall, overwhelmed by what you know was a well thought out and well sprung trap by that jerk, Oligar Greyclaw. As you fall into this state of nothingness, you find that that is all there is. Nothing. Blackness. No voices, no words, no gods, no others to comfort you in this moment of uncertainty. But there is something out there. Something in the dark. Something that is coming for you. A kind of creeping shadow that you can sense is hunting you. The presence weighs upon you and feels overwhelming. And that's when the voices come out from the darkness, hollow, like echoes. Shek's voice comes to you. You're worthless, Greg. All the smarts in your stupid little books, and you still end up crushed like one of your clunker toys. Just a pathetic, weak little whelpling. The voice echoes and carries over you. And just as it begins to fade away into the blackness, Grask's voice takes his place. You've proven yourself a disappointment, Greg. You could have been something great, but you ran away, proving yourself a coward, and you let down the entire family. And as these voices echo and taunt you, further denying your existence, calling you a failure, the shadow is closer. It's coming. It's upon you. You know it's there. You can feel it inches away from you. And you can't even see it. Nereus. As you fade from consciousness again, seeing Oligar stalk towards your companions, your vision becomes clouded, and a familiar storm appears before you. Roiling clouds, crashes of thunder with bursts of lightning suffuse your vision. And then you suddenly find yourself beneath the storm, and it begins to rain. But the rain is not comforting, as it usually is to you. In a way, it feels almost burning and slightly spiteful, acidic, as though it is ashamed of you. And as the storm rises higher and higher, black, purpley tentacles begin to emerge from beneath you, writhing up into the air and slowly encompassing you, surrounding you. They don't restrain you necessarily. You don't even detect menace in their movements, and they don't feel threatening. And as they surround you in what feels most like a protective cocoon, a voice comes to you from beneath. Thick, eerie, grating. Father. Rejection. Disappointment. Ignored. Abandoned. Mother. Embrace. Seek. Rejoice. Welcome. Love. And this eerie, deep, grating voice just goes within your mind, and in the blackness you feel both isolated yet also protected in a weird way. Olive,
Yeah.
you fall to the ground, but when you hit, it is not the cold, wet stone of the bridge that you feel. Instead, it is the much softer dirt of the forest. And as you stand, the lush green forest burns away, becoming a desolation in the blink of an eye. You hear screaming and cries of pain behind you, and you turn, find yourself in the ruins of a building. Orcs run screaming, some crushed beneath tumbling walls and fallen ceilings. The scent of blood, terror, and panic fill your nostrils, and a pain in your side grabs your attention. Looking down, you find that the body you are in is not your own, and a massive wound is torn open, leaking your insides out. You stumble to an open window, and you look out. The forest is strange, changed somehow. And how you know that you're not quite sure, but it's different than it should be. The fortress that the Ibn built down in the valley between the two crags of rock is gone. The ground begins to quake, and you feel darkness threatening to overtake you. You stumble towards the exit, but a ceiling begins to cave in above you, and before you know what happens, you see nothing more. Defect. You lose your grip on your anger and rage. It's too much to push through, and you fall to the ground and go offline. You begin to see early memories play out. Your earliest memories of walking up out of the water on the beach, being discovered. But then, something earlier. You see that first memory you found and it unlocked. Awakening to applause and a gnome naming you Blockadius. And it skips ahead to something new that you've never seen before. That same pink-haired gnome in green and blue robes with a big medallion standing before you, giving you instructions. Now listen here, Blockadius. You were created to guard our home, so that is what you are expected to do. You glance around and see a massive estate with glowing orbs hanging above beautiful gardens and a building built of polished stone. And along the walls beside you, you see 4 massive hulking figures. These iron golems will respond to you as long as you are wearing this insignia. And you see in the center of your chest, an emblem is sent there. It is an orb with 7 pointed lines emitting from it. You feel yourself nod as he turns around and leaves you there. And you look at these 4 giant iron constructs, much larger than you, but not nearly as elegant in form or design. And as you look at them, you sense no kinship or soul within them. They respond to your words, but that is all. And suddenly a small flying creature lands upon one of them. You've never seen anything like it before. It is dark gray on top, with a brilliant orangey red on its front, and a black head. It chirps and twitters at you before flying away, and you watch it go, wondering what else it could possibly see out there. And in that moment of absent curiosity, the memory shifts again. And you see that you are holding hands with someone. Someone much taller than you. And you look up, and you see that the hand you are holding belongs to yourself. Emotions fill you. Feelings of safety, comfort, closeness, and trust. The memory shifts quickly again, and you look down. A smaller, slighter form is pressed against yours closely, tightly. You recognize what this is. This is a hug. And the form lifts its head, and you look down, seeing, staring directly up into your eyes, is the form of Umbradius. And you feel something pleasant in this memory. Grig. The darkness begins to recede as you open your eyes. You find yourself bound with ropes and suspended in a small spiked cage. You can barely move, and as you look down, you see in the torchlight a pair of well-armed, black-clad guards. In this small chamber, the guards appear to be sitting at a table. And you see none of your friends. Nereus. As the blackness recedes, you begin to open your eyes, and you come to consciousness, suspended in the air, in some form of chamber, bound by chains at your ankles and your wrists. You can't see anything in here. It is totally dark, and you don't know where anyone or anything else is. Olive, after that collapsing, you find yourself collared to a wall, your arms and legs shackled against the same wall, and a slight glow is emanating from the wall behind you, but you can't turn your head enough to see why. Defect. Your eyes slowly flicker back to life as you begin to open them. And you can't see in this dark chamber, but you can feel your arms and legs are manacled behind you. And you can feel that you are bound not only in that regard, but also in some kind of stockade. Grig. The guards beneath you are talking to each other. These misfits are going to be out for a long time after what Oligard did to him. Yeah, but why bother keeping them alive at all? Oligard is going to offer them up to the Ibbenshade first thing after the ritual, like trophies, I guess. They'll probably kill him, not sure what else to do. He had these cells done up just for him for a reason, I suppose. Right. They had a lot of good stuff, I hear. Yeah. Pegon took the statue's axe. Oligar sequestered the rest. He has to wait for that snake figure to figure out what it all is. But she's out of commission for a while. And the first figure laughs at that. Well, why is that? Well, she was going to eat that big turtle guy, and Oligar wasn't going to have it. So they kind of got into it a bit. Oligar put her down hard, reminded her of her place. Didn't help that no one's been able to pick up that turtle's mace either. What do you mean? For fuck's sake, you're dense. Something about that mace won't let it be moved by anyone, so it's just sitting up on the bridge still. Oh, right. No, I knew that. So, when does the ritual finish anyway? Do you ever pay attention? Ritual's take 7 days, right? These misfits attacked on day 5, which makes today 6, and tomorrow day 7. So midnight tomorrow night, all the fireworks get started. And then we go to Laurentin. Yeah, well, you do. I have another assignment. I guess there's a family of one of these misfits there. Parents, siblings, and the like need to be sorted out. Seems weird. Those misfits cut us up pretty good. Why split us up? The Ibn Shade will be more powerful than ever, and so will we, so don't fret about it. Right. But there's not like little kids, right? What? Maybe, I don't know, doesn't matter. Well, I don't mind killing grown-ups, but I don't want to kill little ones. It's just not sit right. Right now, I'm going to do the biggest favor anyone ever has. I'm not going to tell no one that you said that. And Greg, you hear them banter back and forth a little more. And suddenly they remove themselves, talking about going on patrol to check on the others.
Okay.
So, Greg, these guards have walked away. You feel the ropes binding yourself as you're hanging in one of those, like, you know, those kind of like medieval cages that kind of look like a humanoid shape?
Yeah.
You're kind of
And that
in
little tiny Iron Man thing.
Yeah, very much so. You're within
Iron
one of
Maiden.
those.
Iron Maiden, yes.
Yeah, you're kind of in one of those types of things. It's got gaps. It's like iron bands that have wrapped around you. What would you like to attempt to do anything in this moment?
Practically speaking, so that I can understand what's up, is am I doing, do I still have all the same number of spell slots and stuff as when we last cut off? Or is this called a rest, or what are we looking at?
It is not a rest.
Great.
You effectively have 1 hit point.
Great.
You have no arcane focus with which to cast your spells. You have no material components with which to cast spells.
Great.
You have no gear of any kind. Your cloak has been taken. You are in the barest of, like, clothing.
Great.
Even your boots are gone.
Cool.
Yeah, doing as quick of a pat down of yourself as you can with your arms bound in this way. You can kind of just sense that you don't have a lot to work with at the moment. And the binding, it would also restrict any kind of somatic components of any spells.
Okay. Cool.
But your greatest strength has always been your mind.
Yep.
And they can't take that from you.
Nope. I'm well, nah.
Greg, think.
I'm thinking. Things I know. My friends, some of them at least, are alive. This is specially tailored made for me, which makes me wonder, what does he think that I can and can't do? I think my first priority is that I want to feel, like, can I tell what kind of bindings are on me? If there's a knot, can I find it? Like, just body awareness first. I get that I'll probably poke myself on some spikes.
Yeah. The spikes are
I'm
not
gonna
like
wiggle.
the spikes are not like big, massive, like 3-inch spikes. They're just small ones, kind of right along the bands.
And am I sitting or standing, or like tied up?
So you are kind of the base of the cage has like holes in it, like the bands of the iron. So your legs are kind of dangling through them. So you're kind of like sitting in the bottom of the cage.
Okay.
It does look like it would be tall enough for you maybe to like stand up on the iron bar bands maybe, But it would probably be uncomfortable. You'd definitely be closer to spikes that way.
Sure.
Looking down, there's enough light, and you have dark vision anyway. You can tell that it appears to just be a normal rope. And that means it's got to have a knot somewhere. You look down in front of you, and you see that there's at least one knot in front of you. But go ahead, make a sleight of hand check to see if there might be something around your backside as well.
19.
Cool. With a 19, you know, like in general, when you tie unconscious people up, it's the best time to do it because their muscles are relaxed, they can't tense them. So it's the best way and time to tie someone up is when they can't like flex their muscles to give themselves some wiggle room. However, these people use more than one piece of rope to bind you. And you can feel that there's a much smaller knot kind of right above your wrists. And the like bulk of that knot, you can also detect with just the tip of your finger is a little bit worn. Perhaps from one of the spikes inside the cage.
I love pointy things. Okay. So getting the ergonomics, I'm basically sitting, my legs are through little gaps and bound, and then my hands are bound behind me.
Your legs are actually not bound. It seems like the ropes are just like around keeping your arms behind your back.
Oh, okay.
Your legs are just kind of kicking through the cage at the moment.
Okay. Okay, cool. Well, I mean, you know. Oh, what I really want to do is just start swinging because that would be really fun. Let's look up.
Yeah, go ahead, make a
information
perception
seeker.
check. Yeah, absolutely. Make a perception check.
This is what I'm really bad at. 14.
Cool. So with a 14, you see that the cage above you is secured to a chain, and that chain runs up to like a gantry crane arm that you can see down in one side of the room. There's like a cranking device to raise and lower the thing, and it looks like there's a lock kind of thing that's keeping the chain from running.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, at first glance, you get the mechanics of this thing. But you figure you are about 7 feet up in the air, 6.5, 7 feet up in the air, which is akin to the height you are when you ride on Defect's shoulders, so it's not unfamiliar to you, this vantage point. And also, you can see that the chamber itself is probably about, like, 20 feet in area. It's like 20 feet between the walls on either side, and there's an archway that leads down a corridor where those guards walked that seems to be lit with torchlight, and there's also another archway that they did not come through, or they did not leave through, that you have no idea where. You don't really have any idea where either of them go, but
So cage in center-ish, archway in front. Like if I'm stuck facing forward, archway in front of me, right, left, behind.
to the right and to the left.
To the right and left. Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, as you mull that over, Nereus.
Yes.
So you are here. You can feel metal against your wrist and against your ankles. You are wearing clothing and not much else. And you don't wear a lot of clothing anyway. But your cloak, shawl has been removed. Your necklace, ring, jewelry all of it's gone. You are in the barest of like underclothes. So you're in whatever underwear Nereus has. That's pretty much what you got.
They took away my non-magical clothing too. Damn.
You know.
Yeah. Your
You got the tentacles.
your spellcasting focus is gone. Do you have dark vision?
Yeah.
Cool. So in the dark vision, you can still see that the tattoos that you have are still slowly shifting position around you. So it doesn't seem like magic is necessarily negated in this instance, but without your focus, you can't do much without it. Your hands are bound, so somatic components are kind of out of the question. And you go to open your mouth, and you feel something that you didn't feel before. There's a ball gag in your mouth.
Oh my.
I
remember this night.
But you realize that you are not heavily high up on the above the floor. It seems like your feet are just inches above the ground. Most of the work is being done by the chains in your arms. That when you look at them, because you do have motion in your neck, but your arms are just like super tired right now because they've just been holding you up for however long. You can feel the pain of like lactic acid building up.
Mm-hmm.
And as you look around to the best of your ability in this room, there's no light source, but you have the dark vision, and you can see that the chains go up about, maybe 6 or so feet to little like rings in the wall, and it looks like the rings are what like lower on like a wooden beam. It's like a wooden beam that they lower in off of the side.
Mm-hmm.
So like that is what is keeping you up and elevated, and there's like some sort of like locked wooden pylon that is keeping it up.
Okay, so it's just wooden metal. There's no rope or anything?
There doesn't appear to be any rope here. Unless
okay.
And there's probably like leather, like the ball gag is just like, a big wad of like hide leather that's been like boiled and like tied around you with like a leather thong.
Alright. So, I don't know if I can do this, but since I do have that feature that lets me do lightning damage to creatures whenever I cast a spell, could I, like, if a spell just has verbal, thematic, no material cost or anything like that, subtle spell, just kind of try to use the spell slot and see if I can focus some of the electricity through the chains.
So the ball gag is preventing you from speaking, so you can't do
subtle
verbal
spell.
components.
I'm saying...
Oh, but you're using subtle spells, so you don't need verbal or somatic components. I got you.
Right, something that's just like one of those that's not material, where I need my focus.
Right, however, this is interesting. Let me just check something for sorcerers real quick.
I mean, it says creatures, but I don't know if I could just, like, kind of pop a shock through the chains and see if it lights something on fire.
Sure.
Like where it's
sure,
anchored.
Sure. I get you. I'm with you. This is a fun idea. Let's just see. Cool. All right, yeah. Well, what would you like to attempt to cast?
It triggers off of shields, so I'd just cast a shield spell.
All right.
If that's possible.
So you're going to subtle spell cast shield.
Yes.
A brief flash goes off in your cell, and you see a little spark of lightning. How much lightning damage does it deal?
Half my sorcerer level.
So that would be a 6.
Six.
Cool. You see sparks kind of shoot out from you, little lightning arches, and you see it travel up the chains, but it doesn't seem like that's enough lightning damage or enough force to really light anything on fire. What's the range of this ability, by the way?
10 feet.
Okay. So you definitely see the wood like chars a little bit, there's a black spot where like it hits, but it's not enough to like cause a conflagration or anything.
Gonna try it one more time.
Yeah, you, and it seems like there's the same result. Like it's marking it but it's like surface level stuff. It's like as soon as it hit it, it's out.
Okay.
So it's not like super dry timber. It's treated wood. It's obviously well thought out. If you could blast it with like a full lightning bolt,
Right.
like that might do it, but it doesn't seem like the little sparks are making it happen.
Alright, so Nereus is just gonna, after the second attempt, just kind of give up and just hang there.
Okay.
And just kind of like contemplate everything that happened and what went wrong.
Okay. Olive, we'll go to you next.
Mm-hmm.
So you are locked. Your neck is like tied or like bolted, collared somehow to this wall you feel behind you, because you can tell that you're like standing up, but you don't have a lot of like range of movement, and your arms are up and your ankles are also bolted into whatever this is, and there's a slight kind of blue glow emanating from behind you.
Can I wiggle at all? Like, am I bolted with chains or like with like U-bolts? Like, do I have any wiggle?
It's kind of like U-bolts. Like they're like bolted, like it's around your wrist, and then those are bolted into the stone.
Like a pipe clamp?
Yeah,
A U-bolt.
like a U-bolt. Yeah, like plumber's strap, only much stronger.
Sure.
Sure. big bands of
Probably just
iron.
as sharp.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not like it's not like lengths of chain where I can wiggle it all. It's
No,
black.
there's no rope or chains around you in any way capacity. You're not even gagged.
I was just gonna say, can I talk?
You don't have anything in your mouth.
All right. I'm going to attempt to cast a first level healing word on myself, which is a verbal only spell.
Yeah. So you go to cast the spell, you say the words, and nothing happens.
Fair. Nothing at all. Like, is there a fizzle? Is there a reaction? Is there a...
There is a, like, kind of a slight, like a when you cast the spell. Like a very slight hum.
Could I hear myself say the words? Like, does my voice work?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not that I've been silenced, it's that it just doesn't work.
Yeah, something isn't working.
Can I... Sure, the answer is going to be no, but I'm going to try it anyway. Reach into wild shape.
Okay. So you know that this is a magical ability that you possess. The ability to change shape. It's intrinsic to your druid training. It doesn't require a word. It doesn't require material components. It doesn't require a focus. You know that like this has gotten you out of more situations than any of your other bag of tricks. So you go to wild shape and your body remains the same.
I can see the wall. I can see that there's a glow coming from behind me. Can I see anything in front of me?
Yes. it seems that this is not a large chamber. It seems like it's maybe only like 10 foot by 10 foot. You are bolted to this wall, and you are directly opposite another wall, and you can see off to like one side there's some kind of door. It looks like a iron bound heavy wooden door.
Is there anything in the room with me?
There is not.
Just a mysterious source of light that I can't see, and a big heavy door.
Mm-hmm.
Stone room?
Stone room. Worked stone.
Is it cold? Is it cold in here?
It is, yeah. It's got, you being a druid, and you'd be familiar with this kind of cold. It's the cold of like depth within the earth, like that cold, that dark cold that like doesn't get sunlight or like a lot of breeze action.
Like I'm in a basement somewhere.
Yeah.
Cool. What happens if I scream?
You let out a scream. It echoes in the chamber, and we'll come back to that. Defect. You find yourself, you're on your knees. You can feel that there's some kind of like stock or manacles binding your legs together, your ankles. And you can feel that your arms are like manacled together, but you're also like in one of those like stocks that goes around your neck, and your arms are up in the stocks as well. And you can feel like those stocks, because your circlet that grants you dark vision is gone. And if you try to adjust or move, it feels like this thing that you are stockaded into, shackled into, does not have much wiggle room, but you can hear the sound of chains in the dark.
Okay. I mean, I have to try at least once. I will use my brute force and try to break free.
Okay. How are you trying to break free? Like what are you trying to break?
So I'm kneeling, legs are shackled.
Legs are shackled
you said
together.
my arms are, yep. And you said my arms are up?
Correct.
So they're not behind me, they're like up.
Correct.
And so if I pull down on my arms,
yeah.
like,
So you
like
give
the chain is like connected up to a hook in the ceiling or something.
Yeah. So you give a pull down, like an experimental pull to like see what's going on, and you hear chains kind of rattling a little bit. But you also feel like as you pull down, you feel something heavy on your shoulders also pull down. Which leads you to think that whatever your arms are manacled through is also around your neck. So, for imagination, you've seen like stocks in like medieval movies in Kever where the guy like sticks his head and his arms through.
Yes. So that's what I'm in.
Seems like you're in something similar to that, except you're not like bent over in half. It's just holding your arms in an upward position, along with your head being in the same thing.
So it's just the arm and the headpiece, not the like pull the beam.
Correct.
Anchored via chain.
But if you want to attempt to like break out of something, if you want to like focus on one of those things to try to break out of, you absolutely can try that.
It's all I got, so I'll do it. So just a strength check.
Well, which thing are you going to try to break out of?
I feel like I need one of my hands, so I guess whatever's holding my hands up.
Okay, so you're going to try to like pull your hands like through it, or you're going to try to like pull them apart to like break that.
What is it made out of? It's metal. It's like all metal.
You can't really see, so you're not sure.
But what does it feel like? Right?
Kind of it's hard to feel because like it's at your wrist, so you can only do like this much movement.
Mm-hmm.
Make a sleight of hand check. See how much info you can garner off of that. A dirty 20. Yeah, so you manage to like bend your hands and fingers in such a way where you can feel like metal rivets like directly around your wrist, but you are able to just feel beyond that some kind of like heavy wood. So it seems like it's composite, like directly around you, and you manage to like twist your wrist just enough so you can see that there's a seam, like probably where they closed it around your wrists, right? So like there's some kind of seam there, and it's wood beyond the metal part. So it's like the metal collar is like inset into the wood, and then the wood is like most of the thing.
Okay. Yeah, screw it. I'm just gonna try it, even if it hurts me.
Cool. So this is an athletics check, and because of the situation you're currently in, it is at disadvantage because you don't have
I understand.
a big room to like rile yourself up. You're very restricted in your movement. Okay.
Well.
So with a 12, you kind of like force your body to go down a little bit, but you don't get a lot of movement as what you so you don't get out of this, but what you do get with this 12, you can tell from the way you like try to pull down that the chains you're hearing are like pulling off to the side. So like if this is where the stocks that are holding you, then like off this way and off that way, there's chains that are like keeping it in the middle of whatever this room is, maybe.
Okay. Is it possible to try again? But my movement is so like I'm trying to force one end up and bring the other one down, sort of like that.
Cool. So you want to try to like tilt out, which makes it to me sound like you're going to try to like pull a chain out.
Yes.
Cool. Great. Go for it. Same roll, athletics to disadvantage.
Another 12.
Yeah, you go to like pull out and you see that the chain does not have a lot of tension in it. Like it's yoked off or tied up. Like there's not like a sag in it. Like it's got to be like almost straight out. So there's not a lot of give to tilt it with. It feels like it was almost like custom made for you.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Okay, and I can't really do anything else.
Cool. This is where all of you hear a scream in the dark.
Yes.
Grig, it sounds pretty far away at the moment. Nereus, you barely hear it. And Defect, like you can hear it, but you can't tell how far away it is. It's very echoey for all of you, but Grig, it's definitely loudest with you.
It's not loudest with me.
It is, well, fair enough. It is loudest when Olive hears it. That's definitely true. But like Nereus, to you, it's like something like a echoey, bouncy thing. It's bounced off a lot of walls to get to you. And Nereus, you realize that for the first time in a long time, you feel chilly, like cold.
I am almost naked this time.
Yeah.
Aren't you always kind of almost naked?
I was saying, isn't Nereus always almost naked?
Not this naked.
All right.
I guess, like, does it just sound abysmally far?
Not abysmally far, but like far enough away where it's like bounced off multiple walls. And so it's like echoey and like the bounce has echoes. So it's hard to put a distance on it. Like you can hear it, but only like just so. Like if you were probably any farther away, you would hear it as a noise instead of what it is. A definitive scream from Olive.
That's what I was going to ask. Can I tell that it's Olive?
Yeah, you can all hear it clearly enough to know that it is Olive screaming. And it's just that one quick scream.
Can I tell whether it's in pain or on purpose or...
Make an insight check.
Great. Typical Grig move.
On a natural one, it was a scream, and you know it was Olive. But it's hard to know what's what in your current circumstance. You're in very bad circumstances, and you can only imagine what your friends are in.
Cool. That's great. Do we have an order in which we're gonna try to do next steps, or hop in?
If any of you would like to attempt something, you can let me know.
Cool. Grig's plan of attack. I've created a checklist in my mind. Checklist number 1. Wiggle enough so that I can wiggle my fingers enough to cast something. Little cantrip. Something. Try to do this in such a way that nothing swings too much so that they don't know. But I do have to wiggle. Because I don't know how long they'll be gone.
Cool.
I would like to, when they come back, pretend like I'm still unconscious.
Okay. I will need 2 things from you to start. The first will be we'll call it another sleight of hand check to see if you can get your fingers free enough from this restraints to consist of to give you enough room to like somatically cast things. Although it's very difficult because you need to like move your hands as part of it. So getting them free enough is going to be difficult, but possible. And as part of that, I would also like a stealth check to try to do it in such a way without creating a lot of rackets and swinging.
Just so I can decide whether I'm going to use Flash of Genius. Am I like full body tied, like wrapped? Is that, or I'm just bound?
You are in a room with enough like torchlight and whatever. You can see that like there is a thick hempen rope or silk rope maybe that is wrapped around you multiple times.
Okay.
So like if your torso is like a foot or a foot and a half or whatever it is, seems like it's got at least 4 or 5 wraps around you.
Okay, so like hip to sternum.
Yeah.
Kind of thing with hands and back.
Like tied to a railroad track kind of thing. Yeah.
Great, perfect. Cool. Okay, we'll try this first and then I'll think of option 2. Sleight of hand and stealth. 18 and 20.
Cool. 18's really good. So you are able to like free your fingers and wrists a little bit, and you can kind of feel that knot loosen just a bit. And this is not like a quick thing. This is like a lengthy process because you're also trying to be sneaky about it. But your control of your like body and like dexterous movements is enough that you don't really wiggle the cage that much. Like maybe it's spinning a little bit, or maybe there's a slight wobble, but it's not making a lot of noise, if any.
Okay.
Any more than like a breeze would if it came down and blew the cage.
Okay. Or like a twitch in your sleep kind of thing.
Yeah. You do not think you've been able to get enough free to get full somatic for any casting of anything, though.
Okay.
But if you keep working at it, who knows?
Okay. Can I tell about how much time has passed?
You have
By any
no
chance?
frame of reference with which to do
Okay.
so, unfortunately.
Okay.
You did hear the guards because they had that conversation right under you.
Right. I just mean how much time has passed since they left.
Oh, since they
How
left.
much time have I used up?
So you've used up about 10 to 15 minutes trying to wiggle your arms a little bit. So
Okay.
you're not sure how much longer these like rounds go.
Yeah. And now that I've discovered this, is there a spike that could prove useful? Like if I lean far enough back, can I feel? I don't really want the ropes to fall all the way off me, but maybe like getting one little nick. You know. Like,
Yeah. So you're reminded earlier that like that little knot kind of right above your wrist behind you seemed to have some kind of like wear in it, like it was nicked by something.
Yeah.
So looking
I would
around,
like to accentuate that.
yeah. So it's kind of hard because you can't really like turn around and see what's behind you, but
I'm literally gonna lean back until I go ow.
yeah, leaning back. Okay. Make a dexterity saving throw for me.
All right, cool. 12.
Okay. A 12 is enough. You lean back and you take 2 points of piercing damage.
Okay, I pass out again.
And knock yourself unconscious.
Yep.
But you know there's a spike behind you.
I mean, I was doing it carefully, but yes, I did say lean back.
And I'm going to say this was not lethal damage, so it just knocked you unconscious. It didn't like... You're not making death saves.
Cool.
But like in your weakened condition...
I just passed out.
Yeah, like you just, sometimes like when you're exploring, you just kind of push too hard, and that's just what it was.
Yeah.
But you know it's there now.
Great.
Would anybody else like to attempt anything or do anything in this moment?
Do I see anything sharpish around the room, like some leftover metal scrap somewhere, or?
It appear. Well, make a perception check because you have dark vision.
Please.
Dun, dun, dun.
Nope. Ow, why is it double clicking again?
So looking around with an 8, like you have full range of like neck motion, except for like behind you, that's hard to see. But looking around with an 8, you do not see any like scrap metal or anything. It seems like you get the intent that this was like purposefully left bare to give you like nothing to use, essentially, right?
Right.
But what you do notice with an 8 is on your right side there's a doorway that is got a big iron door or big wooden door with like iron bands and like a small iron bar kind of situation on it, akin to like a prison cell, essentially. Yeah, so there doesn't seem to be any like little scraps of metal around you.
Do I see anything in the hallway? Or is
Uh,
it not like that kind of level?
it just looks like kind of just beyond the edge of your vision. Again, the room's not super large, maybe like 15 feet square, maybe.
Hmm.
It just looks like through the bars there's like wall. So it's like the other side of whatever corridor that is.
Hmm. And there's nothing like adorning the wall.
It doesn't look like it. It looks like it's very just like stone construction kind of stuff. And the stone doesn't look particularly well like cared for. It looks fairly rough hewn. Like you would probably think like it's not like a high traffic area.
Are there any rough, like chipping stones that look sharp?
There's none that look particularly sharp, but they do look rough hewn.
I need sharp. Can I feel the knot of like the ball gag?
Like on the back of your head.
Yeah.
Make a what check would this be? I'd just say you can feel the pressure. Yeah, so like you are aware of the thing around you.
All right, subtle spell, telekinesis, because that's only vocal and somatic components.
Okay, and do you have the spell slot left for it?
Yep.
Cool. Okay. Cool.
My last one.
Cool. Great. So this is interesting because you are attempting to use telekinesis to what? Undo the ball
Either-
gag?
Yeah. Somehow, whether because I can lift up to 1,000 pounds with it, and I can also do fine movements with it.
Yeah. So you can't. The trick is you can't see what you're doing. That doesn't mean you can't do it. Go ahead. Make a. I think make a sleight of hand check, except use your charisma modifier instead of your dexterity modifier.
All right, so I'll just make a charisma check then, just because it's a
Sure.
Same
Yeah.
roll.
If you're not trained in it, just a straight charisma check.
17.
Cool. So with
I'm doing this.
with a 17, you feel like you are getting real close to being you can feel like things moving, and it doesn't feel like it's too crazy. It probably takes you about 5 minutes of like pushing the right thing and like pulling the other thing with the force of your mind, and like it's hard because it's behind you. But after about 5 minutes, you think you've almost got it. Do you want to keep going?
Yeah, and I mean, if anything, like if it gets to the point where it's loose to where I feel like pulling it down, I guess, like even if it goes down around my neck instead of completely off.
Cool. All right, go ahead. Give me another charisma check.
Fuck. I'm gonna use my last sorcery point to reroll that one.
Okay. Oh no. So you're trying. It's that last bit. How long does telekinesis last for?
10 minutes.
Yeah, you can feel like you've almost got it. It's that last bit that you can't quite get, and like right as you're like, okay, I'm really close, the spell ends.
Is there a way of like taking like the back of my head and like rubbing it on my arm to try to like continue to loosen it?
Ooh.
Just from like repeated movement.
So your arms are kind of up like this. You can try. Yeah, you can try that. Go ahead, make just a dexterity check. You've already done most of the work here, so it's more about your flexibility. So I'm going to say it's a DC 18.
30, 20.
That'll do it. Yeah, you are able to, like, after about 10 minutes or so of, like, trying to undo that last bit, just wiggle it free, and the ball gag plops out of your mouth.
All right, I'm just gonna, because this only requires vocal. So I mean, I'm gonna try somatic, but like using shocking grasp to try to keep sending electricity up through into the wood.
Oh, interesting. Cool. All right, cool. So, shocking grasp. Make an attack roll at disadvantage. And remember, you don't get the bonus from your vial for this.
So this is just plus 10. So -2 from whatever the roll is.
Cool. So 21. Yeah, you're able to like put your hand out and like grasp around the chain itself. Cool. Go ahead. Roll damage.
Ten.
Cool. So that is 16 lightning damage to that chain, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Or
cool.
the wood rather.
Yeah. So it travels up, and there's a big black like kind of linen bach, like scar that appears over it, and for a moment it glows, in a couple of spots, like the little embers, but then they fade.
It's possible for me to just compete, like, well, other people go, just like kind of keep that, trying to repeat that process as much as I can.
Yeah, you can keep trying. Shocking grasp is a cantrip.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, you can keep attempting that. Olive. As Nereus is cantripping away in his cell, you see a light begin to appear through that doorway that you can see off to the side.
Oh, it's an open door.
No, but there's a little like, window bar things kind of
like
set.
Window.
Yeah.
One last attempt. Can I attempt to summon Gray?
Oh. Yeah, you can attempt that. Except you don't have the material components to cast the spell.
It's a wild companion.
Oh, that's right. You can do it without the spell components.
No material components.
Yeah, so you use the ability, you attempt to summon Gray, and you hear that hum again.
I want to hum back.
You do so.
I want to try to match the note.
Make a performance check. You let out this big honking geese sound.
Okay.
Which you then hear, well, I guess she's awake. Fucking goose. As you see the two guards kind of look in through that window and then carry on. She's not going anywhere. And they walk down the hall.
Cool.
Go ahead. Make a straight intelligence check for me, Olive, here. In this moment.
Intelligence?
Yep.
Not very intelligent.
You don't know why your shit's not working. Like, there's no reason your shit shouldn't work.
Not a clue. Not a clue. Nope. Cool. I'm gonna not wiggle because I can't move at all. Can I? So I can't move. I'm shackled at the wrist, right? But I can move my fingers.
Correct.
I would like to. I don't know why why shit doesn't work. So I'm going to attempt to use primal savagery on my fingernails. which means that they grow and they drip acid.
Yeah. So you go to use Primal Savagery, cast this spell, and
Cantrip, yeah.
yeah, and
hums.
you hear that hum once again.
I'm gonna scream again.
Yeah, another scream. Defect, you
So
hear
that's what I can do.
a second scream. This one of like frustration and anger. Something you're familiar with, so you get that. You get that vibe.
Mhm.
But then you begin to see that doorway, or like that little window through your doorway, begins to glow as you can tell like a light source is moving closer.
Okay.
And you hear
If I'm
chuckling.
let me try again. One more attempt to try to pull the chain out, like I did before.
Yeah, athletics check at disadvantage.
Coming right out. 19.
19, very good.
19.
And you can hear metal straining and you hear like a clunk, but you don't hear a clatter. And it doesn't give as much as you hoped, but you've like the metal strained under it. And so you didn't quite get it, but you were really close. Like you could feel it like straining under you. But what you do see next,
Yes.
you see the light begins to fill the area, providing you the first time to really look around this cell that you're in, as these guards begin to look in on you. And what you see is you are in a small room. And indeed, you were right. This the stockade thing around your neck. It's got metal collars around your wrists, around your neck. It's banded in metal, but the interior of it is wood, and connected on either side, to the left and like the right side, there are chains that are going to the far walls, about 10 or so feet away. And you are stuck in the middle of this room, and you can't see it, but you can feel it. Like it's not just the wood thing that's keeping your hands apart. You can also tell and feel that there's like manacles beneath that around your wrists as well. And like you try to like push your elbows together, and you can't, because there's like it's like one of those sets of manacles that's rigid.
Mm-hmm.
So like it seems like they were very concerned about your strength.
It puts a small smile on my face. All right. I mean, they were really prepared for me, so I will just sort of wait to see what happens next.
Yeah, the guards chuckle and they're like, looks like this one's up too. And continue on. Nereus, back at you real quick here. You've been attempting this shocking grasp thing for a while. Make a Constitution saving throw for me, or a Constitution check, if you'd be so kind.
Alright.
Because you don't have a lot of energy, so we'll see how long you can keep this up.
Natural 20.
Very good. Very good. So
That's it, guys. That's all I got.
there is something deep within you that's like the adrenaline's pumping, you're trying to get yourself out. Cool. We're gonna say you've been trying for about 6 minutes here. So go ahead. We're gonna say, let's see. That's a lot of like individual attack rolls. what I would like you to do, so make 6 attack rolls at disadvantage, 1 for every minute.
Alright, so all these with the -2.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Oof, rough. One more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, cool. All right, cool. So the 19. First one. That first minute, pretty good. You're getting it down. You're going down. Go ahead. Roll damage for that, and then roll the damage. Add the 6, and then we're going to multiply that by 10.
Sorry, what? Oh, that one.
The first one. Yeah. So 14 plus 6 is 20 times 10 is 200. Cool. So that's a lot of damage. So that is that's pretty good. You do enough damage where it looks like that one side there's multiple like spider webs. Like you have definitely weakened it, but you haven't been able to like catch it ablaze yet. Unfortunately, none of the rest were high enough to succeed in doing much damage. So over that course of time, you have inflicted a lot of like structural damage, but you haven't gotten it to light on fire yet. Mechanically, there's a damage threshold, and so like that's also factoring into this. So
Yeah.
And as you are like exhausted from like trying this, just like the mental fortitude, like you're still willing and your body's holding out, but it's just, you know, constantly doing something and not getting the result that you like want and not getting the result that you are hoping for is annoying, right? That's when you see through the light begins to appear through the windows of your door. And
I'm just gonna stop and just like hang my head down. And just like try to hide the fact that the ball gag's not in anymore. Just like hang my head as low as I can.
cool. Go ahead, just make a deception check for me.
That I can do, I think.
Yeah, it's charisma based.
29.
Yeah.
Why is it double rolling?
You hear a couple voices just kind of look and be like, "Oh, this one's still unconscious." Guess so. And then you hear footsteps walking away.
Last thing. Because I didn't use it today, I would like to try to use Ear of the Storm.
Okay.
And just try to reach out to Dad.
Yeah. Okay. Go for it and make your charisma roll with disadvantage.
Oh. Alright, so first one. Disadvantage still 21.
Nice. So you call out directly to your father using this ability that you have. And you get something else. In your mind, you get what feels like a wall. And you hear a voice Be like, what do you want?
I'm trying to reach my father, let him know that we're unsuccessful.
And that is why you cannot reach him. Chalk does not deal with losers.
And who are you to make that judgment call?
A higher being than you.
Well, higher being, there's something that's about to be all of our problems because I failed. Including yours.
Yes. I've heard your paltry threats before. I've heard it from many others. I've heard it from countless worlds. Got
The
news
Ibn
for you.
Shade are making the crystals again.
Not worried about it. If it comes to it, we'll destroy them. It's that simple. Goodbye. And you feel that connection shut.
Hung up the phone on me.
It absolutely did.
When I get out of here, I'm gonna beat that whoever that person is.
Not sure it was a person.
Whatever it is.
Whatever entity is gonna be on
Yes, exactly.
on the shit end of Nearest's shit list.
If I get out of here, I swear.
Your father's receptionist is in deep shit.
Oh, they're fucked.
I'd like to speak to your manager. Nereus
You know
gains.
who I am.
Nereus goes full Karen. Becomes a Pact of the Karen Warlock. So some time passes for you all. Grig, those guards return. Go ahead, make a deception check. As you have managed to come back to consciousness in the time.
I'm gonna do some flash of genius and like snort in my sleep or something. So that's +4, so it's a 13.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they think you're unconscious. It's fine.
Okay, great.
And like you're just barely edging back into consciousness when they are wandering back.
Okay.
And you don't know how long it's been. You don't know how much time has passed. But you hear something echoing. It sounds like heavy footfalls. And the two guards kind of stand up and kind of like look like you kind of creak your eye open a little bit. And you see they stand up at attention. Like they don't sit down in their chairs. And you see with a look of anger and frustration, you see Oligar in his half-giant form storm into this area. Where are they? What do you mean, boss? Where are the prisoners? And they kind of point up to you. And the rest? They're in their cells. And you can tell, like, Oligar is pissed. Did you fucking idiots lose them? No, sir. We just did our rounds. They're all in. They're all in. Some of them are awake. And he just kind of, like, smacks the guard who was talking. Don't feed me bullshit. And he goes up and he grabs your cage, because he's tall enough to easily grab it, and just, like, rattles it. And you hit a few of the spikes.
Try to keep my mouth shut.
Cool.
Maybe little whimpers like I'm unconscious.
Make a deception check at disadvantage because he's right up in your grill.
20 to 17.
17 is still pretty good. He's like, this one's still there, fucker. And he just like walks away and he storms off down the hallway. Olive, you are the next one to hear these thudding boots And then you, in this dark vision, in this low light from whatever it is, you see the door slam open, and you see silhouetted in this blue light the form of Oligar just looking at you and looks to the wall. Well, you're still fucking here. And then he just leaves and slams the door behind him.
Blow raspberries at him as he leaves.
Doesn't seem to be the... Whatever his worries are, doesn't seem to be them. Next up, Defect. Oligar opens the door, slamming it open. Looks at your bindings, sees you on the ground, like walks within like an inch of you, pulls on the chains, checking their tightness. You're not fucking going anywhere. And walks out. And you hear him grumbling, fucking magic user, fucking. And he slams the door and you hear it lock in some capacity behind him. Nereus. You're next. You see Oligar bust into your room, and he sees the ball gag on the ground, and looks up at you and says, "So, been causing trouble, huh?"
I didn't like how it tastes.
You're lucky to be tasting anything. How'd you do it?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Yeah. Now tell me what I want to know. How did you do it?
I'm magic. I don't know what you want from me.
You're all still here. How did you make your gear vanish?
My gear? What gear?
Your gear. Your equipment. That fucking little vial you wear around that scrawny little neck of yours.
I don't know. I woke up in here. You tell me where my clothes are. I'm cold.
Deal with it.
Oh, so you like looking at me almost naked?
I've seen better.
Yeah, two can say that for sure.
He smacks you.
I spit on him.
He just laughs. He's like, I can't wait to gut you. And grabs the ball gag, shoves it back in your mouth, and you feel him tie it like really tight back around your neck, around your jaw there.
When he shoves the ball gag at me, can I use my last 4th level spell slot and cast Thunderstep?
Interesting. Very interesting.
It's only vocal and somatic.
Cool. Go ahead. Just roll make an initiative roll. We're gonna see who gets this done first, because like his intent is obvious, and you know what you're gonna do. So we're gonna let this come down to initiative.
I'm gonna get myself killed. Again, 21.
Ooh, 21 is very good. And you succeed. Very nice. Okay, so you go first. So go ahead. You cast Thunderstep.
And I would like to get on the other side of the doorway and try to close the door shut on him.
Okay, cool. So you cast Thunderstep.
He also needs to make a con saving throw.
Okay, fair enough. He does not do well. He does not succeed.
My DC's only 18 right now.
Yep, he rolled shit. He rolled a 2.
Gonna take 29 thunder damage plus 6 additional lightning. Just
Yeah.
because.
So that blasts over him, and you disappear and slam the door closed. However, you don't have anything left with which to attempt to lock the door.
That's fine. I'm just at this point fucking with him.
Yeah, he immediately bursts through the door. You can make a contested athletics check.
I'm so good at this.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't roll his best.
18.
Unfortunately, his 22 will beat you.
I thought so.
And so he slams the door, and he goes to where is it? Yeah, he just you see his form melts away. He becomes that giant Oni creature, and yeah, 18 slashes through you. For a bunch of damage, you are unconscious.
As I'm going unconscious, I just give him the bird.
So this big, massive claw strikes down, and you're just like, "Fuck you!"
Yep, pretty much.
Wonderful. Yeah, good job. You pissed him off. Good job.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
No, that was fucking epic. That was the best form of fuck you ever.
Just explode right in his face.
Yeah. Grig.
Yeah.
Does everybody hear the big boom?
Yeah, everybody heard the big boom.
Oh, good.
The guards rush out immediately down that hallway, Grig.
Cool. I'm gonna wiggle aggressively.
Aggressively. Ooh, okay. Cool. Go for it.
You know, not stupidly aggressively. I am aware I'm in a ball of spikes, but more aggressively than last time. Slightly less sneaky. The
Okay.
boomsplosion gave me urgency.
Okay, if you want to abandon sneakery here, go ahead, just make a straight sleight of hand check.
Great. Mother F.
Oh no! Unfortunately, in the excitement, like, oh, distraction, get out of here! You end up accidentally retightening your bonds a little bit, and you're like, shit!
Right, wrong way.
Yeah,
Wrong way.
and as you're like, shit, that's when you feel the cage move again, and Olgar spins it around and says, "Yeah, you are awake."
Well, now that loud thing happened, I'm guessing that was Nereus. He's very loud.
Yeah, he
Does
is.
Oligar look at all like disheveled?
He's back in half giant form, and Greg, he looks a little annoyed. We'll definitely say annoyed. He's annoyed.
Great. Am I helping?
in Greg's own special way, you certainly are.
Great.
It's like, I'm gonna find out how you all did it, and then, if the Ibn Shade leaves anything left, I'm going to have fun with the remaining pieces.
We are very talented and known about the realm. So, you know, how we do things, sometimes it's even a mystery to me. I mean, things just...
I'm gonna ask you once, you rambling little twit.
I thought you did just ask me.
How did you get your gear to vanish?
Well,
Where did it go?
I have a feeling it's all a lot of valuable stuff, so I bet there was somebody stalking us all along who wanted to steal it from us and just took this opportunity to take it because you were focusing on us rather than on our stuff.
He takes the cage and spins it really hard. Greg,
Vomit.
make a Constitution saving throw, Greg.
Whee! 8.
Yeah, you vomit all over yourself,
Everywhere.
and
He's flying out the cage, right? Come on.
oh yeah, it goes all over the place, and you go unconscious from like the force of your vomit.
I am saying we.
Yeah, I believe you. You're like we, and you're out.
Great. That's fun.
So, as you vomit everywhere all over the cage, we're going to take a 5-minute break there, everyone. So we'll come back to this fun chicanery and see how we end up in 5 minutes. So we'll be right back after this short rest. Hello, everyone. We are back. Thanks for waiting with us and letting us take a little break. Cool. So, where we left off, our heroes are imprisoned in various states of various cells, chambers, restraints, of all kinds of fun and exciting ways. Grig has just vomited all over the place and passed out after an angry oligar spun them around in their little cage that they're in, their little Grig cage. Cool. Nereus. You are unconscious again because you got all uppity, and rightfully so. But got your comeuppance rather quickly. In that moment of unconsciousness, you see like the storm is gone, and instead what is like roiling around you are massive tentacles. And they're not like gripping you or holding you. They're not even cocooning you. They're just floating around you and kind of writhing in like a... Imagine like a mass of eels, but they're all tentacles. And then you feel something. A sensation rushes through your body. One of pressure and impact, and also of immense release of like an ache that like ugh. And you come back to consciousness, and you see something is being forced down your throat, and you sputter, and you are down on the ground. You have been removed from your chains, and there is no one else in the room with you, except you see an empty glass bottle on the ground. Hey, kid. Wake up. You alright? Nereus, come on. Wake up.
What? What?
Ugh. Look, we don't have a lot of time here, kid. Oligar's reading the riot act to the rest of the Shade Reachers, and we gotta get you out.
Who are you?
You don't recognize your old friend? Well, I guess I'm invisible. It's me. It's Trip.
Why are you risking? You need.
Look, we can talk through the whole thing afterwards, but you're the deepest in, so I had to start with you. The other guy's working on from the other direction, so we'll meet in the middle. But I'm gonna need help. Spoot's a big guy.
I'll do my best. I don't know how much more I have in me.
All right, come on. And he like helps you up. Like, it's weird being helped up by someone invisible you cannot see. But there you are.
I mean, I'm used to invisible casters by now.
Fair enough. So you are
Somebody invisible.
you hear Trip. All right, come on, to the right. And he kind of leads you. Presumably, you can't see or hear him unless he's speaking, but he tells you to move off in a direction. And you come to another door, and like as you are approaching the door, you can hear a little jingling of something, and you see the door open in. And inside, with your dark vision, you see on the ground, just simply bound and gagged, the familiar form of Spoot, unconscious on the ground. And Spoot is not the only form you see in this room. There is another form on the ground.
Who is it?
You go over and check. Spoot is unmistakable. He's a big turtle guy. It's hard to miss him, right? But this other form is darker of skin, long hair, and you roll it over, and you see a massive open wound in the middle of the torso that has like dried blood all over it. The unmistakable form and lifeless eyes of a Garian Granix.
Oh, shit.
Trip goes, that guy's a real hero. I'll tell you about it later. But Spoot's still kicking, so I'm out of potions. I gave you the only one I had because I needed to get you up.
I'll, actually, I haven't used this today. I'm going to use the Azamar healing thing. And shock Spoot back up.
Cool. You pump heals into Spoot, and you know he's healed, but he still doesn't awaken.
Oh, you really gonna make me carry you?
Come on, I'll help.
Where's defect when you need them?
The others are closer, so we should meet them right in the middle. We should meet at Olive's cell.
Alright. I use my my immense sorcerer upper body strength
Yeah.
and help with Spoot.
The powerful 8 strength sorcerer and an invisible gnome begin essentially dragging Spoot's unconscious body out of the cell. Meanwhile, Defect.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You heard the explosion. Time has gone by. You're not sure how much. But then you suddenly hear something in the dark. You hear a light clink, 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 and then you hear all your manacles and chains fall off of you. And you
Now, it's still dark in the room, right?
it is still dark in the room. All your chains fall off. And before you can react or say anything, you hear a shh. Be quiet. We have to get you out of here.
Do I recognize the voice?
You do. And the voice says, I know you're not the sneakiest Blockadius, but you need to be as quiet as possible.
Umbradius?
Of course.
I have a lot of questions. How are you here, even?
Well, we'll get there, I promise. But I couldn't let anything happen to you. Now, come on. And this individual, so stealthy, did not even notice them enter the room. They opened the door silently and slipped in without... You must have, blinked or something. It was so quick and so silent. They seem to, blend into the shadows as well. You still can't see them. There's a little bit of light kind of out in the hall from, far torches off to the side. But it's mostly dark. And they look at you, and they are low to the ground. They're much shorter than you. But they are low to the ground, slight of frame, wearing, instead of their usual, brown cloak, they're wearing, a black covering. And it's much tighter and form-fitting than they usually wear. Come on, Blockadius. We gotta get your orc friend, and then the other one is... Your gnome is pulling the other two out. So you follow Umbradius as they leave you to Olive. Mm-hmm. And you watch, they pretty much bring up their hand and just kind of put their fingers towards the lock, and you see like little instruments and little edges just kind of like enter the lock, and then you hear the very silently as the lock unlocks, and they quietly open it, and they motion you to follow them. All of the door opens, and you see a figure you've never seen before. It is short and wiry and like clad in black, and like emanating from this glue. In this glow, there is something familiar about it. It moves as though it is silent, and very, very silently and very cautiously. And it like stops as it opens the door and looks towards you and looks back behind it questioningly. And then you see the familiar, larger form of Defect fill the doorway.
What the hell are you?
Later. And the form, they move up close to the things and look at the wall, and they're like, oh, okay. Hold on. And they kind of put and adjust their fingers and kind of twist their hand, and little protrusions like screwdrivers and like wrench kind of looking things come out, and they begin working at the manacles that are like clamping your wrists and neck to the wall. And after a few minutes, they all of them unlock at the same time. All right, we've got to get the others. Come on. And within 5 minutes, Defect, Olive, you are with this other individual, and you meet Nereus, and you see Nereus dragging half of Spoot, and the other arm of Spoot just invisibly floating in the air. And you hear a familiar voice. See, you got him. Good. Let's go. You got to get Grig. Yes. Very well. Let's get the goblin. And you all begin to silently sneak towards the entryway, or you assume the entryway, or wherever Grig is kept. You're not really sure. Grig, you come to consciousness in this moment.
Cool.
And what you see on the sitting at the table, like in the room, you see the two guards propped up. Make a perception check for me.
I can read. 10.
The guards are just sitting there. They're not moving in their chairs. They're just sitting there. They're not even talking. They're not eating anything. They're just sitting there and like looking off into nowhere.
Weird.
And then you see silently. Actually, you don't see anything. Silently, you turn as you feel the cage begin to lower. Very like, and you turn around and you see a figure that you have seen before. Only last time they were cloaked in like a brown coat, like a trench coat with a hood. But you see a familiar form of that other Arcanaton, that Umbradius figure, and you see Defect walk down the hallway, now carrying Spoot, who is unconscious, and Olive, and then Nereus, and the cage drops to the ground, and then you hear as there you go, kid. Come on out. And you feel the rope around you be unbound. Okay. Okay, we got you out. But now we got to get to where we can get out. And you don't see an individual speaking at the moment. But
That's fine. I'll take that in stride.
Yeah, but you recognize the voice as Trip Sharprunner.
Great. I figured. We only have one more day. Midnight tomorrow night, and the Ibn Shade are out.
Great, kid. But you all are fucking wrecked right now.
I have an apple. Did you make our stuff go away? Do you have it? I'll eat the apple. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I got all your. I got most of your stuff. It was the distraction that we needed to get you out because Oligar's up running.
He was pissed.
Yeah, he's running ransack through everywhere right now. We gotta go.
Okay. We did this once, we can do it again. We did this once, we can do it again.
Cool. So everybody begins moving through the castle. You have aid in the assistance of Umbradius and the Invisible Trip. I need everybody to go ahead, make a stealth check. You would normally have disadvantage because essentially you're all in an exhausted state at the moment. But they are granting you advantage through their like skills and abilities, so it's a straight roll for everybody.
Okay.
Once I'm away from the wall, can I shapeshift?
Yeah, so once you are like out of the room, if you try to wild shape, you can wild shape. So what form would you have gone into?
A flying snake.
Cool.
Tiny flying snake.
Cool. So you are a tiny flying snake, just sort of wrapped around Nereus's shoulder at the moment, or flying around wherever you want to be.
Snake scarf.
Is it warmer?
Is it warmer?
As you move through, it is warmer. So let's see. What did everybody get here? 13 from Defect, 19 from Nereus.
16, right? Because of the.
Well,
Straight roll.
it's a straight roll because you're all exhausted, so you would normally have disadvantage.
Okay. I missed that part. Sorry.
No, good. No, you're good. You're good. So straight roll 13, 19, 10, 21.
14.
Okay.
14. I'm using Flash of Genius.
Flash of Genius. Great. Cool. Thank you. Very good. There's a couple of close calls, but it seems like it's like you like bump something because someone's about to stumble or
Catch it.
or whatever. But yeah, you catch it. You prevent like a suit of armor from falling over and whatever other random shit's around. Eventually, you are led to a very small door. It looks like it's like a broom closet, essentially, kind of deal, like a small storage room. And the door opens, and Umbradius ushers you all inside, doing a quick in and out to like make sure that everything's good. You all enter the room. Inside, you see 3 additional figures. 2 of them armed with longbows, and 1 of them with a very tall staff with a crystal on top. You see the familiar forms of Kaelin and Adis.
You stupid.
You also.
And I hug Adis.
Yeah, he's like, okay, Greg, it's okay. And the third form is familiar to Greg and to Defect. You see the tall gold and silver magic user Arcanaton that you had met last time with Umbradius when it's the one who performed the memory sharing. You see Archimedalius. And he kind of nods and says, "Quickly, through the tunnel." And Adis and Kaelin both kind of move to the side, and Trip drops his invisibility and grabs a piece of like essentially a big boulder and kind of like moves it silently out. And right on the other side, you see the familiar form of Kruthi, who kind of like makes a few clicking noises, and he goes, "Good girl, now let's go." And you see that what Kruthi has created is a very small tunnel. And Trip goes, "Follow me," and like kind of just walks down the tunnel. It's only about 3 feet around, maybe like 2.5 to 3 feet around. So he can walk in it, just ducking a little bit. And Greg, you can also obviously walk in it as well.
4 foot tall. Come on.
Sure, but you don't have to like get on your hands and knees, is what I'm saying. You just got to duck a little bit.
I put some butter on Spoot's shell.
Yeah. Yeah, they see the shell, they're like, oh, damn it. And Adis produces a flask of oil. And he's like, sorry about it. Just don't light on fire. And like covers the shell of Spoot. Ties rope around him, and like he and Kaylin like begin dragging Spoot kind of through as like Defect is pushing him, and very slowly, one by one, it seems like Umbradius takes up the rear in this moment, and replaces whatever the boulder or the stonework is, and very slowly, over 30 minutes, 45 minutes, you all, one by one, emerge into a copse of trees through a just grossly, like, dirt-spewed tunnel, like, the last, like, 15 feet of which Kruthi has to, like, re-dig out. So it takes a few moments for her to, like... Because she's not... If she was just on her own doing it, she could just burrow right through it. But she's doing this to, like, make it enough for you guys to, like, exit. So she goes out through, trips out, Grig's out, Olive, you're out because you're just flying in the snake. You're like, whatever.
Tiny flying snake comes out.
Yeah, no problem. You fly right out. Kaylin and Adis drag Spoot the rest away. Defect is pushing them. Archimedalius kind of comes out and begins brushing himself off immediately. And then Umbradius is the final figure to rise up. And you can all see it is early afternoon-ish. You see you are in this copse of trees that is hidden from the walls. And you are all out of Kraghold.
Fuck, it's cold.
Oh, right, here. And Trip passes over to Grig a familiar-looking bag.
Snatch. Clutch.
I shoved all your stuff in there.
I love you.
Well, I appreciate that sentiment, but you should probably put your clothes on. It is cold up here.
Yes. Pull everybody's things out.
Yeah, you all. It takes some time to like pull all the stuff out. All of your stuff is here, with two exceptions: Requiem, Spoot's mace, and Matter's Bane. Sorry,
I'll ask about Matter's Bane.
Yeah.
Well, I heard that the guards were talking. It seems that they've kept it because they liked it.
Yeah, Pegon took it as a trophy, and Oligar didn't seem to care that much about it because it wasn't shard touched. Whereas the rest of your stuff, he recognized it, but he and the snake person apparently got into a fight. So I guess I should tell you what happened as you get yourselves back in your armor here. And he launches into this story.
Olive will cease being a snake and will offer Defect her spare scimitar because she's still carrying around a mundane scimitar as well as the latch blade.
Yeah.
Defect takes it grudgingly. It's not the same.
So as you're all kind of like getting into your armor and all this stuff, Trip relays to you a story of what happened. After your infiltration, he couldn't in good conscience like just abandon you, so he stayed in the area, hoping that you would be successful, and at least hoping to tell your tale if the worst happened, right? And then he heard this gong start to go off, and the two guards that he could see that were outside of Kraghold disappeared. So he took the chance and like ran up and like found the wall and like saw what was happening, and the doors were still closed, but there were no guards on the top of the wall anymore. So he climbed up over. Essentially, he snuck in while everybody was racing towards the thing, towards the chamber. And he managed to get there, slowly sneaking his way through. He picked off a few, like, shade reachers who were, like, lollygagging behind, just, like, silent, like, coup de grace kind of style. Like, took out a couple, like, just a quick slit to the throat kind of deal.
Juicy.
Because he's much better when he's not, like, in a battle, because that's not really his thing. But he managed to make it all the way to the entrance hall and saw Agarian with like 24 corpses around him, just like breathing heavy. Most of the magic users seem to be who Agarian focused on like first. Like he took hits so that he could take out spellcasters. So severely depleted the number of spellcasters that the Shade Reachers have access to. And as he was battling the last like 15 or so people who were still like surrounding him, he didn't see or notice the massive glaive from Shurga punch through his armor from the back and just destroy him. It appears that in the melee, after they were done with you, Shurga came down and killed Agarian very brutally by stabbing him in the back. And so Trip stayed invisible and pretty much snuck around for the remainder of the time and found where all your stuff was, kind of learned the lowdown. Basically tells you that the Shade Reachers are like drastically reduced in number between the ones you killed and the ones Agarian took down. There's maybe a dozen or so left, minus the Oligar and like his elites. So they are very low in number at the moment. And he snuck around, had Kruthi start digging a tunnel just kind of underneath. Took some time for them to do that. As soon as he found your gear, he snuck back out. He like put it all in. He learned that like the mace was still up on the bridge, and that Pigon took Matter's Bane. But once he snuck out, found where you were, he gave Kruthi like directions and had her begin digging a tunnel, knowing it would take the better part of a day. But you had talked about the latch blade more than once. So Olive, he used the latch blade and went to Fey Harbor. And in going to Fey Harbor, appeared in the basement of Misfit Manor, walked his way up, and after much convincing, managed to get Adis and Kaelin to come with him, which they couldn't use the latch blade to get back, so how are they going to get back? And that is when a portal opened, pretty much right in the main room, like that first floor, like seating area of Misfit Manor, and Umbradius and Archimedalius appeared out of nowhere, and pretty much were like, "Look, we're after Blockadius, the one you call Defect. He's our friend." Da da da. And through much back and forth in communication, we're able to build enough trust to like work together to like get you out. So they built this quick small strike team focused around Umbradius and Trip and Kruthi to dig out, and then Umbradius or Archimedalius gave them protections, cast some illusions in the room to make sure that people would just bypass it without coming in. And then they snuck in, got you out. Kaelin and Adis were there in the event that fighting broke out. And you're getting the last bits of this story as you are all putting your stuff back on, except for Spoot, who for some reason is still unconscious.
Cool. Well, I don't hate you, I say to Umbradius specifically.
They just sort of nod.
We agree on one thing. Defect is cool.
So, what's the plan? Not like we have any chance to do that again. I got nothing left in me.
We have to figure out some way to disrupt it, because otherwise the Ibn Shade will be back. There are only so many of them. I mean, you heard it. Agarion killed most of them, which is kind of crazy and really impressive.
Yeah, that's great. But you saw how fast Olaga and them just took us down, and
sure, but I hear that the snake lady is a little fucked up because Olagar got mad at her. Not to mention that... Stand by while I look back.
Trip pipes up. Oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you. Seems that snake thing, that Shuzaxa, really doesn't like turtles. So she was going to, devour Spoot. And Olgar was like, you can't do that. I got plans. And they got into a bit of a tiff, and she lost.
Yeah, so she's all left up just like us, maybe. Probably.
Sure, but there's a lot more of them.
Yeah, but
there's more of us.
Even if we rest and go again tomorrow, who's to say she won't be back?
I mean, sure. Okay, but what about
They
this?
have healers too.
Clearly, you all are really good at sneaking. So what if we are sneakier this time, and we sneak up, and we get there in time to disrupt the ritual, because it takes 7 days. This is day 6. Tomorrow is day 7. What if at the last second, we just, mess up one of their lines in the floor, right? Because it takes all kinds of stuff. I bet we could do that with all of us, just, sneaky. We don't have to... Oh, God, I can't believe I'm saying this. We don't have to kill Olagar to fuck his shit up.
Where are they doing that? We didn't see them anywhere.
It's up at the top of the tower. Come on. We saw where the cloud was. We were at the base. They went upstairs. Logic. Come on. We can do it. We can definitely do this.
Greg, I'm nothing without my axe.
That is a lie. I slap Defect.
So you slap Defect. Brady.
That's in your chin.
Greg, roll. Do me a favor, Greg. Roll initiative for me.
Great. That is a lie. What did I roll? A 9.
Cool. You go to slap Defect, and Umbradius's arm snaps out and catches your wrist while you're 6 inches away. No.
I react to that, and I'll snap his arm and be like, "Don't touch Greg."
We're such a good team. All of us collectively.
So you reach out. Oh dear.
This is gonna go great.
It's a Mexican standoff.
So words. So they snap their hand out, and they don't threaten Greg. They're not threatening them. They just put their hand out and stop it from smacking you. And so you get all upset, and so they immediately release Greg, and Greg is unharmed. Blockadius. In all the commotion, I forgot. We brought this for you. And Archimedalius hands a bag over to Umbradius, and Umbradius reaches in and pulls out what looks to be like a long stick at first, and then a massive hilt appears, and a giant, thick, like foot-wide blade with a big chisel tip and like some holes drilled into the blade, and there are runes along the blade. He's like, I thought you might like this more than your axe. And Defect, you immediately recognize the shape and design because the little dagger that you have kept for so long is in this same style and shape.
What am I looking at? What is it?
Well,
Give me the deets.
So it's a great sword, and it's got a bit of extra oomph to it, and it kind of builds up force and applies more damage when you hit someone with it. I'm going to say you attune to the thing. And
Yeah, I'll definitely take it and just kind of do some practice swings.
Yeah. I'm going to watch really closely and see if I can figure out how it works. Because there's nothing more fascinating to me than Defect's power.
Yeah.
I resent that.
I mean, you're pretty cool too, but Defect is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, while we're chilling here, Olive's going to use her last 5th level spell slot to cast Mass Cure Wounds on all of us.
Cool.
That's responsible.
So everyone gets 13.
Yeah.
Healing.
Defect, you realize that what you are now wielding is called the Busting Sword. It is a great sword. It is rare. And I'm going to add it to your inventory, and you can tell everybody what it does here.
I appreciate this more because I'm playing Final Fantasy VII right now. So, he has a buster sword, so to have a busting sword, perfect.
Indeed.
Yes, but do you have a gun sword?
Well,
that's why we have you, Greg.
If you reload your character sheet, you will see the busting sword. And you can attune to it.
Does casting Cure Wounds on Spoot wake him up?
It does not. Cool.
That snaky lady did a number on him.
I break open the smelling salts.
Yeah, it's weird. It doesn't he's healing, he's gaining these hit points back, but he is not waking up.
But he's breathing?
He is breathing. So, Defect, go ahead. Read what the busting sword does.
This massive chisel-tipped greatsword has an extremely wide blade, a single edge, and a reinforced crossguard. The grip seems drastically undersized, yet the weapon is surprisingly light. Arcane runes are etched into the blade. While you are attuned, you add a +2 to attack and damage rolls with this weapon. Additionally, your attack deals an extra 1d8 force damage. When you roll a 20 on an attack made with this weapon, the runes light up and deliver an additional 4d8 force damage to the blow. And the flavor text, busting makes me feel good.
Same.
You gotta have fun with it, right? Cool. So, yes, you have the busting sword now. Which you don't know where it came from, but they brought it for you.
Thank you. This will serve me well in battle.
It's worth it. We need to keep you functioning. And you can, without any kind of insight check, you can sense that like Umbradius is feeling emotions towards you.
I'm sorry, that phrasing was really funny.
Hey,
Feeling emotions toward you.
they are feeling positive emotions towards you.
They might be despair or rage, but they're
Right? Who can tell?
No. It's decidedly positive. Everyone else can make an insight check on Umbradius.
I am watching this all very closely. I'm very concerned.
Yeah.
And I still only rolled a 10.
Cool. Olive, with a 19 insight, you can absolutely tell that this figure, this Umbradius person, they seem to really care about Defect in a deep way, and you can see that they like want to like run up and like hug them and be relieved about him, that he's okay, and they are like actively restraining themselves because they know that there's still something between Defect and themselves that's like not the vibe at the moment, even though they really want to.
Olive will make goo-goo eyes at them.
Okay. Make either persuasion or intimidation of your choice.
Yes.
Rolled a 9 in intimidation.
Yeah, they are not even looking in your direction. They are not clocking you at all.
Fair.
So as you finish kind of going through this motions and this exchange of weaponry, and Spood is unconscious, you all begin to hear as something begins tearing, and you see one of the trees before you open up, and it opens up, and there's this glow of like emerald green, and flying out through this like opening in the tree, you see a small, tiny, like 8 inch tall figure with a little sword and fluttering wings and scars down his right arm. You see Paduk Quickwing.
Yay! You're not dead!
But Duke, how's
No.
Barteria this time of year?
Well, I sorted that problem out to the best of my abilities, and I received a vision from the Mistress of Glens that you were all in dire need of some help.
Accurate.
So I did what I had to do. Hello, hi. You can see that Paduk has obviously grown in power. He is his armor is well worn, and he's got a few like new scratches. He's still got that massive scar down his side from where the Dracolich like killed him and burned him. But he's got a confidence and an air about him that wasn't necessarily there before. But yeah, so let's get you all healed up. You all look like shit.
Yep.
All right.
I
Accurate.
think that's quite the understatement.
I ate a good berry.
No, you didn't, because those were gone or rotted
Yeah, I
away
was
by
gonna
the
say,
time.
Yeah,
those
that's
have been
fair, that's
rotted
fair,
for
that's
a
fair.
long time.
Let's get you all set up. And he begins chanting and casts a prayer of healing over you all. That's really shitty.
That's par for the course.
You all, well, it actually isn't that bad considering it was only second level. So you all get 10 hit points immediately, and then he will also then cast a mass healing word on everybody for another 6. And once more for another 7. And then he will touch each of the 4 of you once with Cure Wounds. That's 9 to Defect, 10 to Grig, 6 to Olive, and 7 to Nereus. Feeling better?
A little.
A little.
Good. I don't know why... Why Spoot should be... that's weird. And he kind of flutters down to Spoot. And spends a few minutes looking at him. Go ahead, Nereus.
I healed him. Olive healed him. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's an internal conflict. I don't fucking know.
Anybody brain?
Spoot.
Ooh, I'll pray.
Well, you don't need to do that. Padu kind of flutters up and kind of at eye level of most of you. Well,
Maybe let the cleric do that.
no, I mean, his body's fine. His soul is having a discussion, it seems like. So, funny thing. I recently sort of discovered I'm I'm the chosen of my god now.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Well, thanks.
Do you
thanks.
get like a sash or a sparkly tiara or something with that?
No, I mean I could probably make one, but I'm not interested in that. So,
I bet I have one. Let me look.
but the point is that kind of I'm really in touch with divine things now, and so there's this divine lock around Spoot at the moment. He's in a
Like a lock of hair?
no, like a
like a lock.
like a lock of you lock a like a door lock, I guess.
Like the kind that I pick.
Yeah.
So his body is working. It's doing all the things the body needs to do, but the essence that is Spoot is somewhere else at the moment.
I see. Do you think you could get him back?
Well, it's not. No, he's got to come back after he's done whatever he's doing. It's not it's not a curse or anything. And I think it's actually meant to help him.
Gods are weird.
They
Yeah.
can be, I mean, mine's pretty straightforward, but other gods can be weird. I don't know much about Spoot's god.
Farlane, knowledge.
Super
books.
weird.
The Horizon
Yeah.
the Horizon Walker gets along with my god. The Mistress and the Horizon Walker, they're friendly enough. There's no real animosity there, so it's not a thing. But I'm not well versed in the teachings or the ethos of the religious structure necessarily.
Fair enough. So do you think there's some way we could help Spoot with this?
No, I think he's got to do it on his own. Generally, in faith situations like this, it's a by your own merits sort of thing.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I don't think his soul is in any danger. Let me be very clear about that. I don't think his soul is in jeopardy. I think it's being
see.
cared for externally at the moment. And when it's all good and done, it'll come back to its home, and then Spoot will be Spoot.
That's
Cool. In the meantime, he's really inconvenient to carry around.
Oh, I guess. Well, Defect's strong, right?
Yes.
Well, so there
sometimes Defect might be to be strong about other things than carrying Spoot. That's all. Just
you go.
saying.
I'm not saying you carry him around if you go back. Where are we anyway? We're in the middle of nowhere.
We're in the
welcome
far
to-
north. We're at the former stronghold of the Ibn Shade, where Oligar and his friends are trying to recall the Ibn Shade and recreate the occurrences of the breaking, so that they can call them back into force theoretically gain some power, probably just be sacrificed to their erstwhile bosses, and, generally wreak havoc and suck.
Okay, so we're in a bad place.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah, this is not a vacation.
Huh. Weird. Well, hold on a minute. And he kind of flutters down and like clears some snow off of a root of a tree, and like puts his hand out and kind of concentrates for a moment. Says, "Oh, there's a big ass structure over there, but I don't see it.
Yes.
Weird."
It's
Yeah, you have to
magical.
touch it. I mean, I didn't touch it.
If you run into the wall, you'll start seeing it, but I really don't recommend it, honestly.
Well, no, it's fine, but it's a lot closer than I thought it was. So maybe we should get out of here.
Oh, yeah, that's probably logical. I've been a little distracted.
Uh-huh.
This is all very exciting. Ooh, I should tell my book, because I haven't talked to it in a couple days and I don't want to die.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay,
they're now that you're like out of the shackles and out of the bindings, you can tell that your wrist still feels tight.
My wrist still feels tight.
Like
Yeah,
you're
it
supposed to
doesn't
be
feel
writing in
good.
the book. Yeah.
Right. Okay, well, we're gonna walk and book. Shall we? Lead the way.
I don't know. Sure.
Where are we going? Guys, where are we going?
We can't go too far. We have to stop this. We really do have to
Well,
stop this, right?
Technically,
Right?
you should still be able to use that, says Trip, and points to
Oh,
the latch
crap.
blade.
Sorry, Grig just remembered and screams, "Oh crap."
What is it, Greg?
What is it, kid?
They're going after Nereus' family.
Oh, that's
They're
bad.
what?
Yep. The guards, they were talking about going to Laurenton after the family. One of them was a little sweet, and he was like, "Well, I don't want to kill little ones." And then the other one was like, "I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that." And then they were both like, "Okay, I guess we have to go on rounds."
Well,
Which,
that's
Grig,
concerning.
those two guards were the same guards that were there when you got sprung.
True.
And
So maybe they're not going immediately, but they are supposed to divide up and go after your family in Laurenton. I don't know how they know.
I know people are looking after my family in Laurenton, and I put them on alert, but I can't leave them. Especially if Oligar's sending people. I don't know who he. I can't even get there right now. I don't have any magic in me.
well, it sounds like you all need a safe place to hunker
Yeah.
down for the night. And
Yeah. I don't know if this thing will work if Trip used it already today.
No, I used it yesterday when you all went unconscious.
Oh, there was a day in there?
Yeah. You all got taken out last night, and that's when I used it.
Oh.
Remember that tree, Olive.
So
Grig says, pointing at a tree.
Olive will study the tree.
Yeah, sure. You can study the tree.
Okay, guys, who wants to go home?
that sounds great, honestly.
That's probably a logical response, even though I want to stop him now. Like right now. I guess
Greg,
we should plan some
you
more.
did see I blew. Did you see I blew him up in the face, though?
I did hear that. Was that you? That was great.
That was-
I
Is that
approve
what
of
that
that.
big boom was?
Yeah, I
Also, Olive,
teleported
were
out
you
of the-
screaming a bunch?
Yes, it was all I could do. Everything else
It's
I tried to do-
clear you've all had a traumatic experience here. So if we can get back to your house, we probably should, because I don't know how long it's going to be until they notice whatever y'all did is done.
Yes, thank
Yeah,
you,
all right.
thank you. Yep,
All right, everyone
we're
go-
going.
Everyone pick up all their things. Everyone got your stuff? Someone pick up Spoot.
Yep.
Can't leave him here.
Yep, you gather up Spoot and things and stuff.
I hold Spoot's claw very carefully.
I'll take Spoot's other side.
That is adorable.
All right.
I'm holding it.
Olive will use the latch blade to open the portal.
Yep. The portal opens. You see the familiar basement of Misfit Manor, And you all, the entire group of misfits and friends, exits through, and the portal closes behind you after a minute. You are back in Fey Harbor in your manor, which has undergone reconstruction since the last time you were here.
Cool.
And most of your friends are like talking. Adis and Kaylin make sure everybody's okay, and then go upstairs to deal with like getting a meal together. It's probably about like midday in Fey Harbor. It's about midday. Because it's a little bit earlier in the day, because it's, time zones are a thing.
Sure.
It's also much more south than where you were.
It's a bit warmer.
So everybody kind of goes upstairs. Defect, you notice that Umbradius and Archimedalius kind of pull off to one side and are kind of staying in the room, but they are not socializing necessarily, while Trip is having a great time chatting with Paduk and getting to know him. And of course, Adis and Kaylin come by and like say hi to everybody. Kaylin, being the mature, older individual that he is, offers. Whoop, everybody good? Cool.
Yeah.
Offers beverages to everybody, including the two other Arcanaton. But they are keeping mostly to themselves.
Sorry, if Defect was going to do something, go ahead. I was looking at my notes and didn't see if you were starting to say anything.
Oh, no, yeah, I was, I'll walk over and say, of course, you can stay here as well.
Thank you, Blockadius. That would be lovely. And when Umbradius says that, Archimedalius looks at them and then looks to you and says, well, we can't really go home at the moment, so we might as well stay somewhere.
Of course. And I'll talk to our staff about procuring you some rooms.
Thank you.
I sleep with Grig.
Make an insight check.
Oh no!
You've upset Umbradius.
Oh.
11.
It was not a high DC. Umbradius's shoulders like slump, and like they kind of lean forward and they go, oh. I think we should get some rest. And they just kind of like wander off. And Archimedalius watches them go and then looks to you and says, Lacadius, I understand you don't have your memories. Umbradius gave you some of theirs. I would have thought you would have looked at them and learned that they cared for you. And for you to be so cavalier and dismissive is very mean after all that they have done for you.
I think you hurt his feelings, Defect.
Oh, you heard that, Olive?
Thanks. But yeah.
Oh, sorry, their feelings.
I understand that you feel you are not the same person as you once were. I understand that. Even Umbradius understands that. But they cannot shut off their feelings as easily as you have been able to do. Perhaps consider that on further interactions with them. And he walks, following Umbradius.
Defect felt that. No, Defect feels bad. I guess we can just leave it at that. Yeah, just feels bad and just
yeah.
We'll reflect on those words.
The real question is, does Greg notice any of this interaction?
Make a perception check.
14.
You didn't hear all of it, but you heard Defect say something, because you heard your name. That's what clued you into the conversation. And then you saw Bradius's shoulders slough and them kind of mumble, and then they kind of walked off. And then you saw Archimedalius move in close to Defect, give a few he wasn't loud about it. He was very subdued and, pointed. You could tell that there was a pointed exchange of words there, and then he also walked off after Umbradius.
I will go to my best friend and say, oh god, I can't believe I'm saying this. Are they okay?
Defect is shocked at the questioning. Are you inquiring about their feelings?
I mean, they did just kind of totally save our asses. I think that's the kind of thing that I would do for you. So maybe that they did it for you is a big deal?
They did. And they did offer me this sword to use in battle.
It's a really cool
sword. It is a very cool sword. I cannot wait to use it. And I say that part a little bit more softly, just to agree. But then, but Archimedalius made me realize that, I don't know, they know one version of me, and you know one version of me, and I don't know which version of me is true.
Of them.
But they both can't be right at the same time.
False.
Confused.
I
Explain.
think maybe. I'm just saying maybe, because I'm not sure. But if I'm not the only person who would do something stupid to save your life, and we have these other people who will do stupid things to save our lives, then maybe having more than one person that is really important is normal? Or maybe it's just possible.
Okay, I understand a little. But they helped me because they know me from a time before you met me. And you will help me because you know me of a time after that. And when this is all over, which time do I go back to? And I think that scares me more than this battle.
I think
I
that
feel like
makes
I lose something here. Regardless of my choice.
Maybe. I mean, I'm just guessing. Because I've only died the once. But maybe. Maybe it's not. Losing one. It's adding more?
It's complicated.
Well, duh, it's mushy
Dying,
stuff.
dying has always been the easy part, I think.
Yeah, that's
It's the
not scary.
living that's complicated. And the choices we make.
Yes. You're...
And that's why we hate feelings.
Yeah, they really suck. Ugh. But...
And yet the more we hang out with these people, the more mushy stuff get into our lives.
I know, I don't get it. Like, what is it? I think it's the more part, right? It's like the more people, the more stuff. Right?
You would think that we would rub off on them and they would stop being all mushy-gushy, but
And
it's
just,
the
like, get
opposite,
over it? Right?
right?
What is going on?
Are we not doing enough? Should we try
Maybe
harder?
I think we have to try. You're right. No, you're probably right. Maybe I'm just, I'm tired. I vomited a lot. That must be what's going on here. We're good. I think, I don't want to lose you, but I think Umbradius might not be my enemy.
And in this moment of contemplation, hello, my dears, it's so good to see you. Kepi comes out with a big tray of, like, breads and sweet things as we finish a view of the most introspective Grig has ever been in their life.
Right?
I just gave up on murdering my sworn enemy, guys. I don't know what's going on anymore.
Kepi hands out, like, little food plates to everybody. There you go, dear. Oh, Grig, you look like you're half starved to death. There you go. There, Defect, I know you're not big on the eating, but here, eat that. It'll get your strength back up, and you need that strength. And just one by one, each of you are given, like, a hearty, like, bread roll stuffed with delicious stuff. Veggies and meats and cheeses and whatever just crammed in there.
Delicious.
And as you all begin to dive in with a very eclectic group of people and friends that you've met from all over the place around you, in various states of mood now, but all of you still together, that's where we'll end the play session for tonight. Before we wrap things up, there is something mechanically I need from all of you.
Okay.
All of you have now been through a traumatic experience, a defeat where you saw all of your friends going down, you thought you were going to be dead, and then imprisonment in cells that were designed to ensure that you did not recover hit points, get a rest, did not recover spell slots. You were pretty much screwed if you hadn't made friends and allies along the way.
The will saving throw.
Mushy stuff.
And in fact, one of those friends is now dead.
Yeah, poor guy.
We should work on that.
We could work on that. I have a
So-
thing for that. Actually, I do have a thing for that. Oh,
I want each of you to tell me how this has affected your character. And not in a simple "I want vengeance" kind of way, because like that's not enough.
Doy.
Yeah.
Because like this is a big deal. Like this is not like a small little like, hey, that guy cut me off kind of thing. This is a big thing.
Right.
You know he's a jerk and an arrogant egotist and all this stuff already. So like this is something deeper. So I want each of you to tell me a way in which this has impacted your character and altered them or added to them in some capacity. And I think we're going to start at the bottom of the rung this time. We're going to start with Nereus.
Nereus, after the fight, just feels very beaten down and probably for the first time, like, not as strong as he thought he was and, like, able to protect everybody like he always has been. and just kind of like really let everybody down for the fact one, like, you know, during combat was barely able to get anything off, but like that, and now they're going after his family because he also failed. So just like a lot of self-doubt, I would guess.
Okay. Yeah.
And then on top of that, like the deity who hung up the phone on him so that like his father doesn't talk to failures.
Yeah.
So like that kind of like rubbing in the failure even more.
Totally. So, Nereus, your Ear of the Storm rules will, for the time being, be made at disadvantage.
All right.
And you will have disadvantage on any intimidation checks or persuasion checks while you are within the area of those individuals in that battle. So, Oligar, Shurga, Shuzaxa, and Pigon.
All right.
But that's it. Next up, Olive.
Olive, I think, is feeling very, very cut off from nature. Like the idea that they were that all of this happened in a man-made structure, and like I think to her that is part of why she feels like she couldn't do anything. Like I think Olive is sleeping on the lawn tonight of Misfit Manor. And not in her room if someone who followed us through wants her room. I think she's sleeping on the lawn, and like just like kind of constantly just being like, is it still there? Is it still there? Is it still there? Like I think she was very, very shaken by being trapped on the wall and not being able to do things, but not being able to do anything. You know, like the fact that she couldn't touch the shapeshift, and she couldn't call Gray, and she couldn't. There were all things that should have worked and didn't. Is just part of the whole same. You know, we were in this fortress, and from the minute we went into this fortress, and the minute we like got past the beginning of it, that it was cut off.
Mm-hmm.
And that she's seen what, as far as she knows, is the same fortress she's been collapsed on by it. He is very doesn't want to be indoors anymore.
Cool. Understood. For the time being, Olive will be rolling wisdom saves and at with a -2 penalty when she is within a structure.
You indoors. All right.
Yeah. We'll move on to Grig.
I think that we just saw it. Grig suddenly realizes that the world is bigger than the people who are next to them. And that Boot might have been a little right. Like, being generally kind of good and nice matters. And the understanding and the concept that like, oh right, we're here, they're gonna go attack that family, they were kind of fun, that's not good, right? Looking at consequences in a more than clinical or like logistical or planning A to B to like, what do we do kind of fashion. Grig's world has expanded. This one, I think, also Grig is very still not entirely aware of how dire it was, in a weird way. because no one actually died, as far as Greg could tell. Greg wasn't attached to a Garyon. Greg is sad about that, but like, oh, it still worked out. So there's a weird kind of optimism, a weird kind of like, that's okay. We messed up, but we can learn from this. I don't think Greg would ever say that it's optimism, but on the external view, the like, no, we can still do this is still real. There's still hope in Greg as well, which is weird for Greg, maybe.
Cool. So, Greg, for the time being,
yeah,
because your confidence has been shaken, at least in a social environment, the world is bigger than you thought. Your charisma checks and saving throws will be a disadvantage.
Cool.
And we'll go to defect.
Defect's confidence has definitely been shaken. He accepted the fact that when it came to fighting in gladiator pits and whatnot, he was terrible. But that outside, with his friends and allies, he could take down multiple enemies and take down dragons and save the day. So for him to be one of the last man standing in that fight and see how he failed his friends and lose the battle made him think back to like how terrible he is in fighting, like when he started fighting in the gladiator pits, and the same when he was shackled, where the shame of being alive just to be kept alive to lose the next match almost. So there's a lot of shame and a shaken confidence, and yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Because your confidence has been shattered in this way, specifically in seeing all of your other friends go down, for the time being, defect, you will have to make a wisdom saving throw anytime an ally you can see goes unconscious. And we will get into that more if it becomes pertinent.
Mm-hmm.
So, all of you taking that note, or taking those notes, your characters are back in Fey Harbor. You will be able to get a rest, a long rest in. And at the end of that long rest, or before that long rest, you figure out what you're going to do. At the end of that long rest, you will all gain a level and be level 14.
Oh, wow.
So, good job.
Yes, please.
So you got a little twang of bitterness today, but you got a pretty good bunch of sweetness as well. So hopefully it all does.
Sweet.
And with that, we will end tonight's session of Nuuli Forged.
Olive is sleeping on the lawn as a cat.
Wonderful.
Approve.
Wonderful. Well, I hope you all had fun this evening. This was a very different episode than we've had lately. Because you were not in a position of strength for most of it. So it was interesting. I think you all did really well. You all really tried a lot of good ideas and various things. When you were imprisoned, Nereus trying to like spark a fire was a brilliant thing, Tanner. That was great. Olive trying everything she could to like do magic. I will tell you now that Olive, or Sarah, you got it absolutely right. You were pinned to a wall that had an anti-magic circle etched into it.
Uh-huh.
So magic would not work in that room at all.
But I could scream.
You could scream.
Yay!
Because Oligar knew that you could shapeshift and stuff, and you don't need to like cast a spell to that, so we had to cancel out all of your magic.
Yep.
Nobody knows about fucking subtle spell. That's totally a Nereus sorcery thing. So there was no way for them to plan for that. But they figured making sure he can't move and can't speak was the way to go. And they could only make so many anti-magic rooms. Greg being in the same way, being unable to move, not being able to have their accoutrement for all their gadgetry and such, definitely knew that was going to be a thing. And Defect being unable to use your strength and countering it in every way they could. That's why you had manacles and all this other shit.
Yeah. But I had to try.
It was great. And it was possible. Like, you just... It was because it was at disadvantage and you couldn't... Like, you just couldn't get it on any of those rolls. You got really close. It was a DC 22. So the 19 was real close. But yeah, so great job all around. And Spoot was also devoid of all his gear and was bound. And part of his torture and punishment was being locked in a cell with a Garion's corpse. Because Oligar knew that Spoot would be the one to succumb to mind play.
Yeah.
And that would definitely shake Spoot's confidence. Oligar's fucked up. Oligar's fucked up. He is not a nice guy.
I gathered
like
that.
him.
Yeah.
We don't like him.
He's horrible. I love him. I love playing him, but he's a horrible, horrible person.
He's not invited to sit at our lunch table.
Yeah, so no, he can't sit with us. But you all did fantastic work, so I hope you had fun this evening. Thank you, I've Got It, for being in chat. Thank you to everyone who watched tonight, everyone who lurked. Thank you all so much. It was really fun tonight. We will be back not next week, but the week after, which is February 14th. We'll be back then. Unless crazy things happens. I know it's a holiday, and we'll see if people have plans for that. So we'll figure it out. But we are planning on being back on the 14th.
Mushy stuff.
Gross.
Yeah.
Kill it. Kill it with fire. Maybe if people aren't around, maybe we'll do a special like Kill Cupid episode or
Valentine's
something.
Day special.
Can we go back to that circle of hell?
Yes.
Yeah, go back to the
Let's go
boneyard.
back to the club. Yes.
Yeah, go back to the
To
boneyard.
the
It'll be
boneyard.
great. It'll be swell. Cool. So
Greg
thank you.
Belton.
I've Got It. Thank you, everyone. I'll figure out who we're going to raid. We'll go around. We'll say our goodbyes. We started with Nearest on the last thing. Let's start with Defect on the goodbyes.
Yeah. I'm Mike. I play Defect. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Wonderful. Moving on down, we got Greg.
Yo. Still Amber. Still Greg.
Yay!
Awesome, yes.
Thank goodness. Oh my gosh. Thank you for joining us on this grand adventure. If you've been watching all along, WTF, mate. That's a lot of sessions.
132
also-
tonight. 132.
That's amazing.
Jesus Christ.
That's bonkers. I can't believe I've known you all this long. Then again, yes, I can. Okay, love you, bye. Okay, love you, bye.
Thank you so much. And we got Olive next.
Oh, hey, that's me. I'm Sarah. I'm Olive, and we're still here. I'm also currently a gray cat, but that's all right. And if you have not been watching us all along, you can catch up on our past episodes on YouTube, and you can follow us on all manner of social media and stuff like that, because that's the world we live in. And we love you, and thanks for watching.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And then we have Nereus.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. I'm so happy we're not dead yet.
Wonderful.
I still got shit I gotta blow up.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Very cool. And I have been Jared, your humble dungeon master here on Nuuli Forged. We are going to raid Dork Tales tonight, so please make sure you hop in this raid. Let them know that they've been newly raided. I've Got It. Thank you for being here. Thanks for the stream. You're welcome for the stream. And we will see you all in 2 weeks on the 14th. it's a crazy world out there. Be safe, be kind, have a little empathy for other people. Defect. And
Even Greg
Ooh.
gets it. Come on, man.
Wow.
Defect's been red. And have a good night. Enjoy time, and we will see you next time for episode 133 of Nuuli Forged. Bye, everyone.
Toodaloo, sneeze.
Bye.
Bye.